Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Friends in Training Live is a Marathon podcast. And I'm here with my very dear friend, Bob Becker. Bob, say hi.
Hi, Marcela.
Bob, I'm so honored to have you here. And we love you. And I have to say, guys, so this podcast has been done in two parts, and it's like we're going back to the future and then we're going to go back to the past. Because there's a reason why. So we actually had Bob on our podcast interview over a year ago, and our podcast has not gone live yet. As you guys know, life is a marathon and life happens. Unfortunately, in between all that, we lost our very dear coach Veronica. And so we put a hold on things, but now we feel a little better and we're getting back into it. So this is part two of this awesome interview that we had over a year ago. And so Bob is going to provide some updates as of where is Bob now. As you're going to listen to our first part, he was getting ready for that big Badwater race and we were looking forward to it. And then it happened. So Bob, tell us all about it. What's going on?
Let's see. Short version or long version? I don't know. Yeah. Well,
Whichever version you want, we want to hear it.
all right. Well, it's kind of an interesting backstory. When I first started running Badwater 135, which for those who don't know is a race in the in Death Valley, California in July. Death Valley being the place where the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth was recorded. So the race actually literally has temperatures in the 120s. The race has three components of difficulty. One of them is it is 135 miles. Secondly, the temperatures are very, very much up there. And the third is that there's a lot of elevation gain. Really, there are four. There's almost 15,000 feet of elevation gain. And the other thing is the race starts at night. You have 48 hours to finish. So unless you're an elite runner, you're running through 2 nights. So the sleep deprivation becomes another component, another thing to train for, another thing to figure out, and keep your head around, right? I ran Badwater for the first time back in 08. And in 2010, I happened to be there and I was crewing somebody else. And there was a guy from Britain, Jack Denness was his name, who was trying to become the oldest finisher of Badwater. And he did. At the time, that was actually the last year that you had 60 hours to finish the race. And Jack, who was 75 at the time, finished the race in 59 hours and 13 minutes. And a bunch of us were at the finish line to welcome him in and cheer him on. And it was great. So as the years went by, and his record held, as I was getting older myself, I had thought to myself, maybe one day I'd shoot for that record. I had run the race a few times and had been out there every year, either volunteering on the staff or crewing for somebody else. And so 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe now, I decided to go for it. I turned 76. I started the race and I made some rookie mistakes, and I got behind on my hydration and my electrolytes. And because they were out of balance, by the time I got to mile roughly 44 or so, I developed some severe cramps and my race was over. There was a cutoff at mile 50. And by the time I recovered from my problem, I couldn't meet the cutoff. So that was pretty frustrating. So the next year, 3 years ago, I was able to get into the race again. You have to be invited. And I applied and got into the race and came really, really close to beating the record. I was 77. There were now 48 hours to complete the race, not 60. And I finished the race, but I finished in 17 minutes and 27 seconds over the cutoff of 48 hours. Had a very, very difficult time the last 35 miles with my back. And I wound up at the end basically half walking, half crawling to get to the finish line. And I did, but it was unofficial. So that was 3 years ago, or that was it was 2022, excuse me. Yeah. And I decided, that's probably the end of the game and that's it. Now, late in 2024, I started feeling pretty good. I ran a 140-mile race out in Arizona, did well, and I thought, maybe I ought to give this one more shot if I can get into the race. So last year, 2025, I think I had my years straight. I did apply again. I was accepted in the race. And bottom line is I had a really good day. The stars aligned. and I
Woo!
finished the race in 45 hours flat and broke Jack's record at the age of 80.
My
Uh,
God.
yeah, it was a heck of an experience. It was a really good
Wow,
day.
that's amazing. So 3rd time is the charm, huh?
Absolutely right. 3rd time is a charm, and my wonderful coach of 20 years, Lisa Smith Batchin, was also my crew chief, and that helped a heck of a lot, because over a course of 135 miles and a whole lot of hours, you'll have your moments when you're really down or you just, you need to eat, you need to drink, and you just don't want to.
Oh,
So
boy.
sometimes you need tough love, and Lisa gave me tough love and kept me on the race plan, and that's how I got to the finish line.
Yeah, but we're so proud of you. That's amazing. So you hold this record, and so tell us a little bit more about that record that nobody else has but you.
Well, nobody else is that crazy to do this stupid thing at my age. Yeah, it's like I said, everything the stars aligned. It was just a really good day. I had a good race plan. I stuck to it for the most part. And when I started to fail a little bit, my crew was incredible, right on top of it for me. My crew also included Marshall and Heather Ulrich, and Marshall has won Badwater, oh, at least 3 times. He completed it 20 times.
Oh my
He's
God.
climbed all 7 summits, including Mount Everest on first attempts. He's just
Wow.
an extraordinary elite ultrarunner and adventurer who's his resume is amazing. But he was on my crew. He's a good friend,
Oh,
and people like that really make a difference when you need support out there. They know what they're doing. They know the course. They know where my weaknesses are, which are plenty. They really make a difference. So yeah, the crew was great, and they helped me get to the finish line.
well,
It was
that's
a hot one.
awesome.
Um, I remember that next so we started at night. The next day, as it got into the afternoon, we were in an area called Panamint Valley where it was really hot, and the heat was radiating back off the blacktop because it's not a trail run, you're running on roads, and it was so hot that my legs were burning, so I had to literally stop and put on a long pair of pants
Oh
to
my God.
deflect the heat, the radiation, and it worked, it was fine, but you have those moments out there when you're saying, "What am I doing out here? This is crazy." You know? That was one of them. But we got through
Wow.
it.
Well, that's amazing. And I love that you touch on your team and the people around you because I feel like, obviously life is a marathon and the people you surround yourself with are a huge impact in your life.
You
So
bet.
if you want to succeed and you want to reach your goals, you got to hang out with people that have the same mindset or like-minded people, right? That will encourage you and want to continue, support you. And then you do the same for others. So that is such an important thing. And I'm glad that you touched on that. So, we're not here to do life alone, right? And we just have to just connect with the right people.
Well,
And
if I may, you certainly know that almost 25 years ago when I trained for my first marathon, it was with friends in training in Fort
yay!
Lauderdale. Yay, Marcela, right? And
Yes. Thank you.
it was that group mindset and mutual support that is very much part of your program that set the proper stage for me as I continued my running career. It had a very big impact, and so you're absolutely right. And the attitude that you and your coaches and everybody convey, that sense of camaraderie, is really important. And all of your people will, if they're new to the program, that'll be one of the very first things that strikes them as being both unusual and really, really positive. So good for you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much. We're so happy,
Absolutely.
so happy for you, and congratulations on all your accomplishments. But I know there's more. So tell us what's coming for Bob Becker.
Well, yeah, this so after that, I really wound down. I mean, I train, try to keep in shape, but I wasn't gonna have any big major goal races this year. I wanted to kinda take it easy for a while. And in December, I wound up with a phone call about a race in China that I had run 10 years ago.
Oh my
That was
God.
probably the most emotionally satisfying and fulfilling race I've ever done. It was a beautiful experience. And there was a connection there because my father back in World War II was active in that theater right there in Southwest China in the Yunnan
Wow.
province. So without going into any detail, it was just a phenomenal experience. So I get this call in December from the race people who said, we're going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of this race and would like you to come back as our guest to run the race again.
Oh
Okay. Well, I can't
my
not do that. I mean,
God.
it
Right.
was so incredible. I mean, I thought it was a one and done lifetime, right? But they invited me to go, invited my wife Suzanne to come along as she had 10 years ago.
Oh,
So,
wow.
next, let's see, a week from Saturday. Well, all right. So next Saturday, the 14th of March,
Yes.
is one of the races where I'm a race director, the Glades Runner,
We will
Everglades
be
races.
there.
A lot of you folks are going to be there, which is great. It's a lot of fun. It's a 5K, a 16.5 mile, and a 50K race at the Miccosukee Village, right out on Tamiami Trail next to Shark Valley, west of Miami. So that's Saturday the 14th. On the 15th, I get in an airplane and I fly to China.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it just worked out that way. Like 28 hours of travel or something. It's nuts. But anyway, we'll get over
Wow.
there. And the races, and I actually start on the 21st. And
Wow.
this is 120 kilometers. So I'm running at 77 miles. That's what I'll be running over there this year. Yeah. And then we'll do a week of sightseeing or so and be back late March. Uh, and yeah, then Keys 100 comes up. So we can talk about that too if you want.
So, Bob, you truly are not only an ultra marathoner running, but in life altogether.
Yeah, if it wasn't for ultramarathoning, I'd have absolutely no personality whatsoever. I mean, it'd be, no, and no life.
Oh,
So,
Bob, we love
yeah.
you. We
So,
love you
as a
so.
race director, I put on a couple of races, and my big one for 18 years now is Keys 100. It's a race from Key Largo
Woo!
to Key
You've done it
West,
too.
which you have completed. And I'll
Yes.
never forget how unhappy you were about the state of your toenails when you finished that race. You were a mess, and
That's
you were
one
the
of the
blister
most
queen.
painful yet rewarding times in my life, my
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah, so
I'll
yeah, so
never
that's coming up
forget.
in May, and that'll keep me very busy when I get back, and yeah, so then something else happened, which I didn't expect. So December, I get the call about China, and then in January, I got another call from the race director of the Denali 135, which is a race in Alaska along the Denali Highway, another
Oh my
135-mile race. And he asked me if I'd be willing to be this year's race ambassador and promote the race and come out and run it myself. And
oh.
I've never been to Alaska, so I said, okay, we'll do that. So now we'll see what kind of shape I'm in after China. But in theory, I'll be busy in June as well, Marcella. So we'll see.
Oh my God, Bob, you're on a roll. That's awesome. I love it. So, a couple of questions. So, the terrain in China, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. The race is on a mountain called Mount Gaolagong.
Mhm.
It's a nature reserve, and it's a spectacularly beautiful place. Very, very hilly. Lots of elevation. I think it's 28,000 feet of ups and downs
My
in that
God.
distance. A lot of technical single track, some jeep roads and, some meadowy kind of areas. It's not all forest. That part of China, Yunnan province, which is not far from the Myanmar border, is roughly at the same latitude as Florida, so South Florida. So it's somewhat semi-tropical, maybe a little cooler temperature range, but um, the kind of forest growth that we'll see there is pretty thick, pretty heavy. It'll be rooty and rocky and up and down and a challenge, but really beautiful. And what's I mentioned before about the emotional connection. What's really amazing is that part of China was the area or an area where American troops fought alongside the Chinese in World War II against the
Wow.
Japanese. And they were supported by American air power, which is where my father comes in. Those
Oh.
people, this was 10 years ago when I was there, but they absolutely revered Americans and still, after all these years, as having helped liberate their their province, their city, their home, and they
Oh.
treated us so well. It was just incredible, and through all the generations. So it was really very, very, very special. And I'm hoping that 10 years of political conflict hasn't changed that attitude, and I don't think so. My experience
Oh.
so far with the race connection, race people has been the same as it was 10 years ago, and I'm really looking forward to being there again.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love, and I can't wait to hear all about it. I can't wait till you get back and tell us all about it. And then also Alaska, that's gonna be great. I loved Alaska. We went a few years ago. We went to it was a race in June, and it was actually the day that it was the longest day of the year.
Oh, very cool.
And so the sun doesn't go down, and you're like,
Yeah.
You don't really wanna go to bed because it's still daylight.
Yeah, well, I'm
So
hoping that'll keep us awake because we have 48 hours to do this
yes.
race, so,
It's
yeah,
gonna
it'll
be
be
a great
interesting.
experience. Yeah, Bob, that's awesome. All right, so Bob, last couple of things. So for those people who may want to know a little bit more about your races and especially the Keys 100 that's coming up right in May, what are their options and then any advice that you have for people that are trying to kind of venture into the ultra running world. So but yeah, let's start with the races.
Yeah, well, so starting with Keys 100, there really are
Mhm.
5 competitions. There's the individual 100-mile race, which is the biggest, and, there's also a 100-mile 6-person relay, which you
Super
and others
fun.
in fit have done many times. And
Yes,
then there's a
super fun.
50-mile individual race and a
Mm.
50-mile 3-person relay, which is a lot of fun. And then there's a
Yeah.
50-kilometer individual race. Now, as of yesterday, the 100-mile individual race is sold out. We do
No
have a waiting list.
way!
Yeah, we're yeah, so when we have a waiting list, and some of those people will get in, uh, because
Bob, that's
inevitably, as we get real
amazing.
close to race day, people get injured or they have family conflicts or work conflicts and they have to drop. So there'll be other people that will get in, but it's sold out at 250 individual runners. And the 100-mile team relay is either sold out or just about. There are only a few
Oh
slots
my
left.
god.
So for this year, the 50-mile, the 50K individual, and the 50-mile team relay are open, and they will remain open, I think. And for those who might be interested in checking out what an ultra is all about, um, I think, first of all, team relays in and of themselves are a blast. They're a lot of
They
fun.
are.
But when you have one that where you're running alongside individual ultramarathoners, you gotta get it. You say, "Wow, look, if that person can do this, maybe so can I." And so many new ultra runners have entered the sport having first experienced a race from relay perspective. So I highly recommend it. Again, it's a lot of fun anyhow. So something to do. The 50-mile races start in Marathon and go to the finish line in Key West on Higgs Beach, where there's a big party and lots of food and lots of beer and whatever. And of course, then you wind up in Key West, which is always a fun place to hang out anyway. So um, it is a road race. Most of it is not actually on the road. You're on the parallel bike paths or pedestrian bridges, but you are on the road some of the time. 7 Mile Bridge itself does not have a parallel span. That's coned.
Yes.
And there are a few spots along the way where you're on the road shoulder facing traffic. But for the most part, as parallel pedestrian bridges or the bike path, we have a lot of support out there from race marshals and our medical team, interim timing stations. We have a lot of staff out there and keeping people safe. Yeah, I mean, I would love to have anybody listening that might consider running there first. Come on down, and if you've never done an ultra before, a 50K is a great place to start. It's 31 miles. It's 6 miles longer than a marathon, which is still, excuse me, 5 miles longer than a marathon, which is still a lot. The longer you go, the more you have to start thinking about hydration, nutrition, electrolyte balance, especially in a very hot weather race like Keys 100. So
Yeah.
it gets more technical the more miles you go. Um, so yeah, it's a fun race. We'll have at least 1,000 runners this year.
Oh my
So last year
god.
was 915, and we're ahead of that. So we'll probably have 1,000 people altogether.
Is this
Um,
record numbers, Bob?
it's close. We had 1,100 one year,
Uh-huh.
and that may have been our 10th anniversary. This is year
Oh,
18, and
oh,
we'll be close. And we have to set limits because there are only so
right.
many vehicles we can put on overseas highway and not
Yeah.
cause a traffic jam. So uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
So, Bob, I was one of those that was in the relay looking at all those crazy people saying, "What's wrong with them? I don't know, but I wanna do it too."
there you go. It is amazing how the mind works. Yeah, yeah.
They're so crazy, but I wanna do this next year.
I want to be crazy too. Yeah, it's the
It's
mind is
definitely yeah,
an
very
amazing thing.
inspiring, very,
Yeah.
very inspiring, yeah.
And if I may just to throw in I mentioned the Glades Runner next week.
Yes,
There are still slots open if somebody wants to come out and experience Shark Valley and Loop Road out there in the Everglades. And my other race is in December. It's
mhm,
called Daytona 100. It's another 100-mile race. This one's from Jacksonville Beach. down to actually just south of Daytona Beach in a little town called Ponce Inlet. It's actually the end of the barrier island, and there's a
Oh,
really beautiful and historic lighthouse right there at the finish line. So it's a
I
beautiful
love
finish line.
lighthouses. Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's a 100-mile, 50-mile, 50K, and a 100-mile relay. We just opened registration for this year, so there's plenty of room. And like Keys 100, you're running along the ocean road, so beautiful views. It's basically flat, and and the weather's better. Keys is its own very special thing with Key West and everything. But Daytona, in some ways, is easier. It's never
Uh-huh.
easy to run 50 or 100 miles, but it's easier because it's not as hot. You take away that extreme factor and makes it a little bit easier. So it's a fun. That's a really good first race for somebody that might be thinking about it.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Bob. And so you were talking about the first, when getting started with the ultras, and I know we have, I think 6 or 7 of our um ultra marathon virgins coming
Yeah,
up and doing this on Saturday at your race. So I'm looking forward to
right.
seeing them accomplish that goal. So that'll be good. Really good. All right. So for anybody who's interested in the Glades Runner, is gladesrunner.com,
Correct.
right? And then
Yes,
for the Kids 100, kids100.com,
it is.
and
At
Daytona 100
Daytona 100
Ultra.
Ultra.com.
Ah, okay,
Uh-huh.
good. All right, Bob. Bob, is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience before we go? Anybody who might be out there thinking about giving ultras a try, or maybe having a rough time in life, as we know life is a marathon, maybe a little encouraging word, or anything else you would like to share?
Well, as I said before about how the impact of fit, excuse me, fit on my own racing experience. I think if you're somebody who's thinking about getting into ultra marathon running, uh, find yourself either a group like Fit or a coach. And most generally in ultra running, if that's your focus, it's an individual coach that you should be looking for. 'Cause I don't
Uh-huh.
think there are many ultra marathon groups per se, but I highly recommend it. Anybody can pick a training plan off the internet, but when you get a qualified coach like my coach Lisa Smith Batchen, it's the full Monty. I mean, you're getting, it's not just the running training; it's overall training that's geared to you as an individual, your particular race, helping you choose the best race for you, whether it's
Mhm.
the first one or your 100th one. Training that is, in my case, for example, age specific and experience specific, and covering things like nutrition, what you should eat, how you should train to make sure you're not going to bonk with a stomach problem during the race, and all the rest of it. And especially when it's a technical race, like a trail race versus a road race, a hot race versus a cold race. I mean, there's so many factors, and to have a great coach can make all the difference in the world. And I know you'll find, as I did when I ran my first ultra, that it's a very, very special community of people
It
who are
is.
like all of us type A's. We want to win, competitive, but we also support each other really well. And if you're having a
Yes,
problem out there, you run out of water or something, you'll find that other runners will stop and help you and give you some of theirs. Because you know what? Next time it could be them. That's
absolutely.
the attitude in this ultra world, and really one of the main reasons I've stayed with it because I just love the camaraderie, the attitude, and the people.
I love
There
that.
it is.
Thank you, Bob. Bob, thank you so, so much. We're looking forward to seeing you next Saturday, and then to hear back all your adventures in China and everything else. So thank you, Bob.
My pleasure. Thank you, Marcella.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.